It's hard to imagine you've ever been faced with more options than going out to pick up a six-pack. In addition to the traditional domestic beers, you might find 50 or 60 craft beers on the shelf to choose from. Overall, beer sales are down, but craft beer sales are up more than 17%. Gretchen Frazee reports on what's driving the growth and whether it's sustainable when it seems like another craft brewery pops up every day.
In Indiana, the cup runneth over. The craft beer industry has grown by nearly 20% in the last year.
People's tastes are changing. They're looking for more, not just local, but more flavorful things.
Craft beer accounted for nearly 8% of sales last year, according to the Brewers Association. Steve Llewellyn brewed beer for himself for about 8 years before opening this small brew pub in Bloomington with his wife in January. They don't bottle their beer or even sell growlers for takeout. They stayed busy just trying to keep up with the brew pub's business.
At this point, it's a really exhausting way to make a living because we are so small that we are doing everything ourselves that we can.
But that also means the Llewellyns know every detail about their beers and can talk to their customers about it. By definition, craft brewers produce fewer than 6 million barrels of beer a year. But they're also known for their innovation, their use of non-traditional ingredients, and their involvement in their communities and interactions with their customers.
Much in the same way as people go to farmers markets to buy their produce for the week, you go to a local company like Upland or Bloomington Brewing or Function, you fill up your growler. You can often speak with the brewer who made the beer that you're taking home. And that's a point of pride for a lot of brewers.
Upland is just a couple streets over from Function in Bloomington and has been brewing craft beer since 1998. Like Function, Upland started small, but now the brewery employs more than 160 people, and the beers winding through this assembly line could be destined to any of the 5 states where Upland distributes its beer.
Our new production brewery, where we're at right now today, it will this year pump out about 16,000 brewers' barrels of beer, which is, if we bottled it, we'll do about 1.5 million bottles of beer this year in what we package. So it's been fun.
And Schmidt says there's still a lot of room for Indiana's craft brewing industry to grow.
Right now we are at almost 100 craft breweries in the state, but surprisingly the market saturation of craft beer is only about 5 or 6%. So that means only about 1 out of every 20 people who's going to their store to buy beer is buying the local craft option.
Miller Coors and Anheuser-Busch InBev together still control about 75% of beer sales in the U.S., but their sales are shrinking a bit because of the craft movement. According to a recent report in Bloomberg's Business Week, domestic light beer sales will hit a 10-year low in 2015. The big companies have responded by buying up some of these smaller craft breweries and by creating new products.
They've done some really smart things to copy some of the ideas coming out of the craft brewing movement. So whether it's Blue Moon on one side, which is a Coors product, Shock Top, which is Anheuser-Bev trying to emulate Blue Moon. The Leinenkugel's family brewery was bought by Miller, and so it's now part of that much bigger brewing conglomerate.
We have our Sun King.
At the 21st Amendment liquor store in Indianapolis, Tyler Pontius has to work with a limited amount of cooler space. Ultimately, he's going to stock what he thinks people will buy, but that's gotten trickier to determine with the increase in craft brews.
Some people now they're going to grab their 12-pack of Bud Light or Coors Light or Miller Light, and instead of getting a case of that, they're getting the 12-pack, and then they're going to grab 2 6-packs of different craft beers.
Pontius says price is still the sticking point for a lot of his customers. Domestic beers are typically $1 or $2 less expensive, and he says often that's enough to sway them away from craft brews.